Hi everybody, Sandi Maki with a little bit of heavy breathing 3 minutes before midnight. Well, we are getting ready for our holiday party, which will be tomorrow. We're expecting a great crowd, and I have really awesome friends. When we decided to throw this holiday party this year, I didn't really have an official plan or agenda, but thought it would be nice to put together a silent auction. So started asking a few of my connections if they'd like to participate. Well, I was hoping for about 5 to 10 silent auction items because I thought that would be a nice little addition to the party that we'd throw. Turns out the donations just started rolling in, and at last count, we're at about 30. So thank you to all of my amazing contacts, friends, and business associates who have donated gift certificates and gift baskets and services and all kinds of amazing things that we'll be sharing at our holiday party tomorrow. So I appreciate that. Today for heavy breathing, I thought I would tackle something that I was trying to work out in my head today. And I don't know, maybe if I explain it to you, I'll be able to find some clarity, and maybe it'll help you in a sense as well. There's really no way to set it up without just launching into the story. So let's just say that it's about social media, and it has to do with interaction on Facebook. And I'll set the scene for you, and then maybe we can ponder what some of the solutions would be. So Facebook is one of my favorite sites to spend time on. It's amazing at how well I am able to connect with people on it. Everybody that I went to high school with, business connections, family, friends, and even some people that I haven't yet met in person, I'm friends with on Facebook. And it's pretty cool when you go to an event and you run into someone that looks so familiar and you know them already, and it's simply because you've been actively posting on Facebook that you've gotten to know each other. That's really a cool feeling, and that happens to me quite a bit. Well, on Facebook, I usually spend time commenting on friends' posts, looking for things that are interesting, resharing. I do share our website, share our blog. I know some people ask me, how do I come up with so much stuff? And one response I put up yesterday was, it's like magic. It just shows up in my inbox. And it does. I have a lot of friends who share a lot of really cool things. I do see some things on Facebook that I wouldn't share myself. Some people that share too much information. Some people maybe that aren't as positive as I would like to be most of the time. So I do think that in general, I've got a pretty nice way of putting things. I've got a good use of the English language when I do posts. Spelling, punctuation, grammar, those all count, and we're good. And then I usually share things that are really positive. Well, I was flipping through Facebook yesterday, and I came across several really interesting maybe photos and sayings and things like that that I figured I would share. And one of them, when I looked at it, I read it, it made me laugh out loud, and I shared it. And then today, I had 2 comments from people that I'm connected with. One said, wow, this made me laugh, even though it's not completely politically correct. And then the other one didn't say anything, but shared a link to a video. So here's what the little photo, it was just a little saying really on a background. And it said, sometimes your knight in shining armor is just a retard in tinfoil. Well, when I read that, I thought it was humorous. You know, what if somebody were dressed up in tinfoil and appearing to be a knight in shining armor and, you know, not really fitting the persona of a knight in shining armor that we could conjure, you know, with castles and damsels in distress. So I thought, you know, it's someone who didn't quite get the story straight, and it made me laugh. Another reason that I found it funny is because one of my daughter's friends a few years back was telling me about her husband, and they had met and gotten married a little bit later. I don't even know the age that they were, but you know, it was after maybe a traditional um, age would have been to get married. And she had said, he's the love of my life, and he was my knight in shining armor. He was just riding a really slow horse, meaning it took him a long time to find her, for them to find each other. So when I saw this particular, saying, I laughed at it, I chuckled, it conjured that memory, and I shared it because it wasn't positive and it wasn't not positive. It was one of those things. Well, apparently, there's a big controversy about the use of the word retard. And there are many people that are trying to have it stricken from our language, just as if a racial slur would be stricken from our language. And this to me is pretty interesting, and I guess this is the part where I have the dilemma. Because ultimately, earlier today, I didn't feel particularly strongly one way or another about having this particular image on there. And I never want to post something that's going to, hurt someone's feelings or be negative in that way. Yet I know that we don't always agree on everything, and sometimes, as we've talked about or as I've talked about in trainings in the past, it's okay to be a little bit controversial in social media. It's about being social, it's about sharing opinions, and yet it's not really that comfortable. Now, if it's something that I felt passionately about, I would have left it up there and it would have been what it is, and I would have welcomed discussion. But being that this was something I shared and I didn't realize it was a big deal, or could be a big deal to some people, I decided to take it down. And then the minute I took it down, I felt like that was the wrong answer. Because this is me living an authentic life, laughing at things that I find funny, not hurtful or harmful or directed at anybody. And yet I felt compelled, because someone's feelings may have been hurt or someone may have taken offense to it, I felt compelled to take it down. So I was trying to work through this in my mind and figure out what is the right response. And with all the coaching that I've done and everyone that I've said it's okay to be a little controversial, here I am feeling conflicted within myself and not quite sure what to do. So what I ultimately did was I went to the dictionary online and I looked up the word retard just to see if I missed a definition that meant something else. Because, sometimes your knight in shining armor is just a retard in tinfoil. Well, retard in that case could be someone who missed the mark, someone who dressed up for fun, somebody that maybe is a little slower with the cultural reference. In no way in my mind did it equate to someone with mental limitations. I guess let's put it that way. So I didn't connect those dots. That's not a word that I'm sensitive to. Well, when I was doing further research, I found some of the information about people who don't like the use of the word. And then, not quite sure what to do with it, I talked to my business partner, Al, who grew up in a special needs family, and he has two sisters that are that have mental limitations and could, that word could have come up at some point in their lives. And I explained the situation to him, and I asked him what he thought about the use of the word. And he said he has no problem with it, and there's no attachment, positive or negative, to the word, and he thinks the use of it is just fine. So here I am in a situation where, obviously some people didn't like the use of the word, and it's not that I need to defend the use of it, but I almost felt like I needed to defend the fact that it was used and it doesn't mean to me the same thing that it means to someone else. And that got me thinking to the English language in general, or language and communication. Because sometimes there's just things and situations where words are not adequate to explain what's going on. So there's sometimes that we'd like to use words and to explain a feeling or an essence or something like that, there's just nothing that comes to mind. And then in some situations, there are obvious words that will fill in to convey maybe a sentiment or something that we're trying to get across. And some people may like those words, and some people may not like those words. And the thing with the words that people want to have stricken from language, I know that I would never call someone a name or use a label to define someone. I would use words on occasion to describe people's behavior, perhaps. And, we could talk about the use of the word stupid. And this is something that I've taught my kids from a very, very early age. We don't call someone stupid. We could talk about someone's decision being perceived as stupid, or a situation perhaps being stupid, but it's not a label that would be used. And in the same token, I would use the word retarded. It's used in construction. You can retard the setup of concrete, which means basically to slow it down. I could see calling a situation retarded and or, different things like that. So yes, hurling a word at someone as a label or meant to slander, that's harmful and just in general isn't good practice. That's what I think. Using words to describe situations and or, create a mental picture in someone's head of a situation like was in the saying that I shared, I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. So back to the point of with the English language, when enough people jump on a bandwagon, pretty much anything is possible. So if enough people become outraged at the use of a word or just upset about certain things, then it can become something that you don't necessarily talk about. And this is a really interesting thing to me with social media and us being authentic and transparent. Sometimes our authentic, transparent selves aren't always going to be absolutely 110% politically correct. And I know that a lot of people, including myself, are very careful and conscious of what we say on social media, as we should. And then sometimes maybe we want to approach the gray area of things that maybe we find slightly funny or humorous or interesting and would like to ponder and like to share. And then once we do, like from where I was sitting today, it just wasn't comfortable. It wasn't comfortable to leave it up, and it wasn't comfortable to take it down, which creates a really interesting paradox for people using social media. So I didn't know exactly what to do, and I wanted to write a post about it, and then I thought, no, I should just let this percolate for a while today, and then maybe later I would do a heavy breathing about it. So here's my attempt to explain what I did, what I shared, and then some of my conflicted feelings about it. So I don't know if you've had any similar questions or any similar situations in your life. I know a lot of people would just err on the side of caution, and they would just avoid anything that could be controversial or someone could interpret the wrong way. Which is fine, except we can't control how people react to anything that we put online, because it's not what we say, it's what people hear. So what we can do is make our best effort to put things out that are, in general, agreeable. And yet, I think we still need to be empowered to be authentic and share some things that some people will like or some things people won't like. I'm an average Facebook user. I don't have any aspirations to win popularity contests. I, in general, like to have great connections. I like to be a positive connection. But not everybody will love everything about me. And as much as I think we each would like to think that that'll be the case for us, we can't always please everyone. And when feedback comes in like that, we owe it to ourselves to take a peek at what happened, think about the way that we feel about it, and then act and adjust accordingly. So this is definitely something interesting to ponder. Not an incredibly comfortable subject, but luckily we have an amazing place and an amazing space to explore how we feel about things. We can research things that we're not sure about really, really quickly thanks to our technology. And then sometimes technology is going to throw us some of these curveballs and things that we didn't think that we would need to think about or want to think about, but give us a really cool opportunity to grow. So know that if I share things, it's because I find them funny or interesting or humorous. Some of the things that you're sharing, I may or may not enjoy all the time. And some of the things that I'm sharing, you may or may not enjoy all the time. But I think we owe it to ourselves to be true to our thoughts and our feelings. And then when things come up, because we're all individuals and we all have a different perspective and we all have a unique way of looking at the world, I think that we can explore the topics and see what happens. And in this particular case, with this particular word, I don't feel any particular attachment to it. I don't need to use it in my vocabulary. But on the same token, I don't have any feelings that come up that would tell me that I need to strike it from my words that I choose to use either. So that's how I feel about it, and I would definitely welcome your comments or your input if you've ever come across anything like this, or even based on this discussion today, if you feel strongly one way or another, I would welcome your opinion and love to hear more. So thanks for listening, sharing in this discovery, and as we move forward, let's just remember to keep an open mind and ponder when things come up. Exactly what does it mean and how does it make us feel? Until next time, make it a great, positive, wonderful day, and hopefully your knight in shining armor, or the picture of the knight in shining armor that you have on in your mind, fulfills every part of your imagination that you could put together.